Alright, so I went ahead and finished the pupil. You do the same thing, you pass it through the back of the head and start out the front. If you see here, it's not completely round. It doesn't have to be. You just kind of want it to be able to tell that it's an eye. And actually kind of, I don't know, shows a good design. Anyways, you don't always have to have it completely round. Usually my eyes are not symmetrical, hardly at all. That's okay. We're next gonna do the eyeshadow. I'll show you a little bit more in the video there. Okay, now we're working on the eyeshadow part. This is done a little bit differently than right here, but not a whole lot. As you see, I brought the string up through the felt, and we're actually going to go around the felt and hook into the stitch itself. So we're going to hook underneath the yarn and come back up through the felt again. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Whenever it gets down to this part, I like to hook my yarn here and kind of help use the needle to kind of help lay the yarn exactly where you want it to go. And just kind of keep working your way along here. When you get to this part where the pupil is, you want to make sure that this hooks just a little bit into these threads here because you don't want a white gap. So I'll show you that here in just a minute. I don't usually start at the very corner. I usually start a little bit above. It's just because the corner is a little hard to work with because of how the felt is. I did the same as the rest of it. I went in through the back of the head. And usually I tend to make the eyeshadow pretty dense and pretty thick just because I don't want any gaps. I don't want the felt showing through, especially since I have that ugly marker on it. So I make sure to go back in a couple of times. Don't want any of those gaps. So I'll come back here in just a minute. Okay, so I have here, I'm around where the eye is, and I know you're not going to be able to see it, but I have actually gone through the yarn here, gone through the felt, and then I actually have on here hooked one of the blue threads from the eye. And like I was saying a few minutes ago, this is because you don't want any gaps between your eye and the eyelid. So I'm just going to do that again. And as I was saying with the eyes here, you don't want to tug this too tight. You want to kind of leave the thread a little bit loose. And later, if you want to make sure that it doesn't, you know, move around and come loose, you could always put some fray check or some really clear drying glue if you want. I don't usually do that, but it might make you feel a little bit better about keeping the thread secure. All right. And I'm just going to continue doing this all the way down to here. So you can kind of see my bright lime green eyeshadow I have going. Try to get the glare off. I just started in the corner here and kind of worked my way like this, overlapping. A lot of this yarn is overlapping. There's some larger stitches that go from all the way here to all the way back, and there's some shorter stitches that just go right in the middle. This is to give it a little bit of bulk, and it gives it a little bit more shape. Excuse me. So, you know, even if it's not looking very good, just keep going. You can always add more layers of the embroidery floss over the part that you don't like to fill in some of the gaps and to kind of give the eyelid a little bit of shape. So just kind of keep working with it even if it doesn't look right. Trust me, the overall completed eye will look really good together. So just keep going. Alrighty, so I have my eyes completed now. See I think the green ended up going pretty well with the eyes. She looks a little angry here, so we're going to definitely try to give her a nice pretty smile to try to balance out those angry looking eyes. Anyways, after you've secured everything on the back and you have all your eyeshadow and eyes done, next you're going to glue the felt down, because the felt is obviously not attached to it quite yet. Okay, so I'm going to take out my glue. I actually haven't been using fabric glue, I noticed. Which is probably what you should use, but I've been using this zip dry paper glue. Fast drying, dries clear. It's been working really well for me, so I hope that you can use fabric glue or whatever you like to use. Okay. So what are you going to do? You're going to take your doll. See if I can get you. See what I'm doing. You're going to take the glue and put the nozzle up into the eye underneath the felt. And you're just going to put some glue up under there and flatten it down. Do the same to the other side. And this is why I usually keep a napkin close. Not only for my hands, for whenever I get glue on them, but also to dab up a little bit of glue if it runs over. I do that along the edge as well. And you just do that for both eyes. Also, if you want, if you have a little bit of black from your marker showing through, you can also paint this white part. I've never done it, so I'm not really sure how it would turn out. I would think that it would turn out just fine, since it's just paint. But you can paint the white part, just be really careful not to get it on your thread. But that is pretty much how I do eyes. So on the next part of this, I'll show you how I do the lips.